Hey guys, welcome to class. Let's go ahead and bow in. Trip, bow, kunya. Alright, so for today's warm-up, we're just going to do some footwork. We're going to do 3 different footworks today. We're going to do our stepping footwork, our skipping footwork, and our running step footwork. I'm going to be going mostly kind of back and forth, maybe once forward, once backward, maybe 2 forward, 2 backwards. Use whatever space that you have available to do this. So first off, we're going to start off, we're going to be bouncing, we're going to be in a sparring stance, but we're nice and light. We're not going to be tense up here in our arms or in our legs. We're going to be bouncing around, loose, loose, loose. We're going to start with our stepping. So with our stepping, notice how my chest is facing one direction. I'm going to step, and my chest is now facing the complete other direction as I move forward. And now when I move back, it's the same thing. My chest is facing one way. I step back, my chest is facing the other way. Now, even though this is stepping, we're not going to step like this. You're going to be bouncing. You're going to imagine somebody's trying to kick you, and you're moving out of the way, or you're trying to get in close. All right, so let's go ahead and use whatever space we've got, and bouncing, bouncing, forward. Step forward. Bouncing around, hands are nice and loose. Step back. Step back. Forward. Forward. Back. Back. Forward. Forward. Back. Back. Forward. Forward. Back. Back. Forward. Forward. Back. Back. Make sure that chest turns all the way. Switch. Step forward. Forward. Back. Back. Now, notice when I'm doing this, I'm using my hands. I'm not just going to do this with my hands where they don't do anything. I'm using them. Use your hands. When you walk, your hands swing, right? Well, when you move, your hands need to be moving as well. If they're just staying still, you're going to be rigid, you're going to slow yourself down. So let's do a few more. Bouncing, step forward, forward, bouncing around, backward, back. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do skipping. So with our skip, what I want you to try not to do, I want you to try not to step forward first with the front foot and then come up with the back foot. I just want you bouncing here, back foot comes to it. And now when you're moving backwards, the front foot comes to it. Imagine it's kind of like a little pendulum. Boom, you hit one leg, one foot comes to the other one goes out, just like this. If you feel a little bit more comfortable, you can try to go further. So notice there's tape right here. I can try to make it so my back foot lands a good bit past that, and that will allow me to practice closing distance more, or if I'm moving backwards, creating distance. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. We're bouncing. And skip forward. Skip forward. Skip backward. Skip backward. Switch. Forward. Forward. Backward. Backward. Switch. Forward. Switch. Forward. Switch. Backward. Switch. Backward. Forward. Switch. Forward. Switch. Backward. Switch. Backward. Switch. Forward. Forward. Switch. Backward. Backward. Forward. Forward. Switch. Backward. Backward. All right. So that was just our skipping. We added some switches in there. Next thing we're going to do is going to be our running step. So our running step is going to look like this. It's kind of like a cross step, kind of like a hop step mixed together. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that your hips are not really turning. So as I'm stepping, notice the knot in my belt. It's pointed about 30 degrees off from my direct front. It's going to stay that way as I step. So my hips aren't really turning. I'm not doing this, like 2 steps. I'm also not quite skipping. I'm going past it with this foot, steps, but I'm not turning my hips, and I step again. So that would be backwards, forwards. Again, use your hands to help you run. It's called a running step. When you run, you do this, right? At least I do. All right, so let's get ready. Bouncing, nice, relaxed, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, switch, forward, backward, forward, backward, switch, forward, switch, backward, switch, switch, forward, switch, backward, forward, back. You should be closing a lot of distance with this one. Forward, backward, switch, forward, backward, forward, backward. All right, let's take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. In and out. All right, so let's move on to some trunk twists. Try to turn those hips as well when you're doing this. Nice, relaxed. Don't hold your breath. Breathe. All right, let's go into our socket stretch, just like this. Make sure that bottom foot or the back foot, the bottom of the foot is completely flat on the ground. You should be feeling a stretch right here on the inner groin of the back leg. Bounce it. And switch sides, same thing. Bounce it. Now we're going to raise our back heel up, drop our back knee onto the ground, put the top of our foot on the ground, hands on the front knee, and we're going to lean forward as we push our hips towards this front heel. Lean back, push the hips forward. Should be feeling it right here on the top. Should be in your hip flexors of your back leg. You might even feel a little bit in your hamstrings of your front leg. Now from here, what I want you to do is I want you to put this hand that's on the inside on the ground, and we're going to make a tripod with our hand, our front foot, and our back knee. Now this other hand is going to raise up. It's going to reach back as I curl my back leg, grab the foot, and bring it in towards you. You should be feeling this on your quads and in your hip flexors. Don't hold your breath. Keep breathing. And now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to switch, drop the knee down, put the top of the foot on the ground, hands on the front knee, push your hips forward, and lean back. Hand on the inside, creates that tripod, hand, foot, back knee, other hand up, curl the back leg, reach for it, and bring it in. Stretch those quads and those hip flexors. Now we're going to put this back foot on the ground. You can put it on the ball of the foot is what I usually like to do. And now we're going to straighten one leg out. We're going to be stretching our hamstrings. So reach for it with your chest. Reach for your knee. When I do this, I try to keep my hips off the ground. You can do this where you sit down, but I typically get a better stretch when I keep my hips off the ground. Now we're going to switch all the way to the other side. And reach for your knee with your chest. You can reach with your hands if you'd like, but I usually just try to reach with the chest. All right, now pick a side, whatever side's your favorite. I'm going to put one hand over that leg, and we're going to split. Now we're going to switch all the way to the other side. And to the front, try to point your toes up to the sky. And stand up. Feet a good distance apart, and hip twists. So I'm keeping my feet relatively planted. I'm bending my knee, and I'm turning my hips. Turn the belt, knot in your belt from one side to the other side. All right, bounce out a little bit. All right, now if you have a bag, go ahead and get your bag ready. If you don't have a bag, well, you can be kicking in the air. I'm going to do most of the stuff today kicking on a bag, though. All right, so what we're going to do today is really just going to be the basic kicks, or what I find to be the basic kicks. We're going to do them with the rear leg, and we're going to do them with the front leg. So starting off, in my opinion, is one of the most basic kicks. It's going to be our front kick. Now we're going to do our front kick kicking with the ball of the foot. So that means when I extend out, I'm going to point my toes up. That way, when I kick, I hit with the ball of the foot. I don't want to hit with my toes and jam my toes or curl them downwards. So I'm lifting them up so I can kick with the ball of the foot. If you're having a lot of trouble with this and you're kicking on a bag, you can even pull the entire foot back and kick this with the heel. Notice how now my toes are basically pointed towards me. You can kick this with the heel as well. It will typically tighten up the muscles or pull on the hamstrings and the calf muscles a little bit more, so they can be more stretched. So if you're not flexible, it might be kind of hard to kick higher with that, but it is another option if you want to kick with the heel. You can do that, but I would like you to try with the ball of the foot. So we're going to get in our sparring stance. We're going to kick with the ball of the foot, extend out, bring it back, and all the way back behind us. Now when we're doing this, make sure you're pushing your hips forward. Don't leave your hips back like this. Whenever you kick, push with them forward and then bring them back. Ready? On my count, we're going to do 10 on each side. Make sure you breathe each time you kick. Sit. Knit. Try to keep your hands relatively up but nice and relaxed. This one. Yes, one. Stay nice, loose, relaxed. Here's it go. Get old. Aho. Now we're going to switch legs and we're going to do the same thing. So put your other leg behind you. Ready? Front kick. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Good. Get over. Aho. Take a breath in and out. All right, so the next one we're going to do is going to be our front kick, but we're going to be doing it with the lead leg this time. So instead of kicking with the back leg, I'm going to kick with the lead leg, which means I need to be closer because we're not doing a hop step right now. So you could essentially do a hop step where the back foot comes to the front foot and then you kick. That is an option. It's just not what we're going to do right now. Right now, we're imagining our opponent is the one closing in on us. So we're going to keep our back foot planted. We're going to raise our front leg up, and we're going to kick. Now, when you do this, you should feel like you're slightly falling forward as you raise that leg up. So when I don't kick the bag, boom, here. You can see how my back leg is angled. That's going to help me when my opponent is coming in. They have forward momentum. My back leg is like this wedge going into the ground. If I have it underneath me, underneath my base, and I kick them, I fall backwards. When I have it back behind my center of gravity and I kick them, I'm falling forward. So that falling forward is helping me stop a lot of their momentum. So I want you to keep that in mind whenever you're doing this kick. So that's what this one's for. It's for stopping somebody that is coming in. Ready? Hana. 3. So just raise up, kick, back down. Sit. Hit. Yes. Don't bring that back foot up. Yes. Is good. Yero. Keep those other hands relatively up. Aho. Yee. All right, we're going to do the same thing on our other leg. So switch your legs, whichever one's in front. Again, back foot is not going to come up first. The back foot is going to stay planted where it is. Raise up, kick, and drop it back down. Try to still have that forward push with your hips as you're extending that kick out. Ready? Hana. 3. Sit. Net. Das. Yes. Is it good? Yero. Aho. Yee. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. All right, so the next kick that we're going to do is going to be our roundhouse kick. So in Taekwondo, we kick roundhouse kick with the top of the foot. That's the only part that you're going to be scoring. So I know in other styles, you might come in, boom, like that, and kick with the shin. The shin is really good for getting a lot of power without hurting you. But in Taekwondo, you cannot score with the shin. You might even get DQ'd if you kick them in the head with the shin on purpose. So make sure that you are kicking with the top of the foot. This is going to be more for speed, more for points. If you're trying to actually hurt them, you might want to use your shin, especially in the ribs and the head. But for these points, we're trying to go fast and kick with the top of the foot in a real snapping type motion in order to score. All right, so we're going to kick with our back leg first. Now remember, with our roundhouse kick, the bottom foot needs to turn at least 90 degrees. Ideally right now, I would like you to turn your bottom foot 180 degrees away from wherever you're kicking. That's ideal. For right now, that's good for training. Sometimes it's not always applicable. You don't actually need it all the time, especially not when you're actually fighting. But if you train that way, it makes it much easier just to be able to do it. It gives you that attribute, and it makes your kicks much simpler for you. All right, so we're going to make sure that we turn our base foot, turn our knee, kick with the top of the foot, and come back. If you're kicking something, you can use the force that is applied to it to help push you back. All right, so kicking with the rear leg, bringing it back to the rear position. Ready? And 3. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Is it good? Yero. Aho. Hey. And switch legs. We're going to do the same thing on our other leg. Ready? Hana. 3. Sit. Make sure you're turning on the ball of the foot, not on the heel. Net. Yes. Yes. Is it good? Hero. Aho. Yee. Take a breath in and out. All right, so just like we did on our front kick, we're now going to kick with our front foot. So we started off in the rear, and now we're going to the front foot. All right, ready? So same things apply. I don't want you to bring this back foot forward when you're doing this. That would be more of a hop step roundhouse kick. Nothing is wrong with that, just not what we're doing right now. So just lean back and kick. Ready? And then. Set. Net. That's one. Make sure you're still pivoting on the ball of the foot. Yes one. It's good. Get over. Aho. Switch legs, same thing. Don't step forward, just lean back, raise the knee up, snap it out, bring it back, drop it down. Ready? And three. Set. Net. That's one. Yes one. Is good. You know. Aho. Yeah. Finish up if you're not done. Take a breath in, breathe in, and out. Breathe in, and out. In, and out. All right, so the next kick we're going to do is going to be our side kick. Now, side kick is one of the most difficult basic kicks. Most people tend to kind of make it look like a roundhouse kick. So now I'm going to show you an example of a side kick that is wrong. So keep in mind that this is the example that is wrong. So that is wrong. If you can tell me why, I'm going to do it one more time. I'll be happy if you can tell me why this is wrong. All right, it is wrong because my kick came in the direction of a roundhouse kick. I brought the knee up. Notice how my sideline, where my head and my torso is, my heel is behind that, which means I'm using mostly quads to snap this kick out, mostly using extension at the knee. I want to have a lot of extension at the hip and at the knee. So notice when I'm in this chambered position, my heel is on or slightly in front of this side line of my body. And then I kick out, and I'm going to use my glutes and my quads at the same time to thrust this kick out. It's kind of like I'm stomping, except for I'm going out to the side. So this would not be a stomp. This is kind of just digging my heel into the ground. This is a stomp. The knee comes up. I'm using my glutes and my quads to extend that kick. So now when I pivot for it, I get in this chambered position, heel is on or slightly in front of that sideline, and I use my glutes and my quads as I throw that kick out there. All right, so keep that in mind. Go slow if you need to. Make sure you're using a lot of glutes, not just your quads. Ready? Starting with the kick from the rear. Get that chambered position, kick out, bring it back, and down. 3. Sit. Now, if you're kicking something, kick with the heel, not the side of the foot. Side of the foot's for forms, not for actual kicking. Net. Yes, one. Yes, one. Good. You know. Aho. Yeah. And we're going to switch legs. We're going to do the same thing. So maybe if you're watching me, which you should be kicking at the same time, not really watching me. But if you are watching me, you'll notice that I'm kind of swinging my leg down low, coming up, and then shooting it out right away. Instead of bringing it around, holding this chamber position, and then kicking, I swing it a little bit low, and then I start to chamber it up as I thrust it out. So you can do that way as well, but if you're still just learning it, bring it up into this chamber position, kick it out, and then bring it back. All right, other leg. Ready? No. Make sure you're kicking above the belt level. This kick should really go to the ribs. Sit. course, if you want to kick them in the face with them, you can. Net. Yes. Yes. This is good. Get. At that last second, right when you're about to make impact, this base foot should pivot even more. Aho. All right, just like before, we did the kick with our rear leg. Now we're going to do the kick with our front leg. So, same things apply. Back foot is not going to come up before the kick. We're just going to lean back. So make sure you're at a distance. This distance should really be able to just about touch with the fingertips your opponent. That's going to be a pretty good distance for this. Remember, we're not starting in this distance. We're starting in a distance like this, and our opponent comes in, and now that we're in this distance because they closed in on us, we kick them. So this is us entering on them. If we were entering, that's when we would do this hop step or cross step or whatever step footwork in order to close the distance. We're not doing that right now. We're just leaning back, kicking our side kick, and setting it right back down. All right? So try not to bring that front or that back foot up to the front foot. Ready? And still make sure you pivot that foot though. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Is good. Yellow. Aho. Hey. Take a breath in and out. Finish up if you're not done. We got one more side on this. So same things apply. Back foot doesn't come up, but as you're raising this up and you start this extension out, that base leg needs to rotate. Watch this base leg. I raise up, boom, and as I thrust out, I extend that back leg, I turn that back leg. Ready? And there. Kick with the heel, right to the ribs. There. Set. Net. Dasso. Yasso. Is good. Get out. Aho. Yeah. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. In and out. All right. So the next kick we're going to do, I still count this as kind of a basic kick, but it is a little bit more up there. I usually teach this one in the orange belt level. So this is it's going to be our back kick. So relatively simple still, but if you've never done it, it can be a little bit tricky. So the steps for doing a back kick, I'm going to start facing this way. First one, we're going to break it down into 3. So the first step is going to be turn the heels towards your target or your opponent. So both my heels, my back foot and my front foot, turn towards my opponent. Step 2 is I'm going to turn towards my back leg and look over that shoulder. I see my target, but notice how my back is completely pointed towards you. Now, I'm using mostly my peripheral vision when I'm doing this. And then the third step is going to be kicking straight up. Now watch, as I kick straight up, I should be able to have something right next to me and still kick. If I bring my knee out and I hit, chances are that was going to be a side kick and not a back kick. So I usually say the difference between a donkey and a dog. So a donkey, when they kick, they bring their heel up to their butt and they kick straight back. Their knees do not go apart. Their knees stay close. They slide right past each other. Now a dog, when the dog goes and uses the restroom, the dog does this. So that would be our side kick, right? So think donkey versus dog. We're doing donkey right now, donkey kick. So we're standing here. We're going to be kicking with our rear leg. We see our target. We're going to turn, look over our shoulder, and then with that back leg, kick. Now when you do this, I want you to kick and bring it back to the same position, the same direction that you came from. I do not want you to spin all the way around right now. You can later, but right now I want you to kick and bring it right back. That way we're not spinning, we're not going to get dizzy. Ready? Hana. Step 1, turn the heels. Step 2, look over the shoulder. Step 3, kick and bring it right back. 1, 2, look. 3, kick, back. Set. 1, turn. 2, look. 3, kick. Net. 1, turn the heels. 2, look over the shoulder. 3, kick, go back. Das one. 1, turn. 2, look. 3, kick. Good. All right, so we did 5 slow. We're going to do 5 at normal speed now. Ready? Yes. Make sure you're kicking with the heel, not the ball of the foot. Is good? Get over. Uh-huh. Good. All right. Finish up if you're not done. That kick is a super powerful kick. If you've ever seen it used in the UFC and it landed, not just kind of glanced and missed, if it landed, you probably saw the fight end right there. I'm pretty sure every time I've seen a back kick land in the UFC, it ended the fight. Most of the times because the person broke their ribs and just wasn't really able to fight much anymore after that kick. So, super strong kick, but it is a linear kick, not a round kick, which means that it's easier for it to glance right off and miss, so you have to be a little bit more accurate with it. All right, we're going to do the other side. We're going to do the first 5 slow, then we're going to do 5 a little bit quicker. Standing here. 1, turn the heels. 2, look over the shoulder. 3, kick. 2, turn, look, kick. Make sure you see your target. If you don't see your target, you can't hit your target. Set. 1, turn. 2, kick. Net. 1, turn. 2, look. 3, kick. That's one. 1, turn. 2, look. 3, kick. All right, now we're going to do 5 at a faster pace, normal pace for you. Ready? Yes, one. It's good. Get over. Uh-huh. Good. Okay, so now sticking with the theme of today, we did a rear leg kick, then we're going to do a front leg kick of the same type. So most people don't really teach back kick this way. It's not super effective as far as a ending the fight sort of a kick, but what it can do is it can get your chest away from your opponent so they can't really score on you. It gets you leaning away, and then it kind of is annoying, is more what it is. I had a person, he wasn't really trained, but he would do this to me, and it's such an easy way to kind of just like get your chest away from them and then stick the leg in between them. That is kind of like a jab in fighting. It's just anytime I come in, it's just kind of, it's there. It's not really doing anything other than kind of keeping me from doing what I want to do. It's a really annoying type thing. But it can be effective in that aspect. So I'm just going to go ahead and show this and we're going to practice a little bit. So back kick, front leg. Turn the hips away, just like when I'm starting this way. But now I'm just going to raise up and kick. Again, because I don't have this hip turning very much, I'm kind of turning and then kicking the opposite direction from the direction I was turning. It takes away a lot of the power from this kick. You're probably not going to finish a fight with it, but you might be able to stop something that they're doing and then react or counter however you see fit. So we're going to turn, and then this front foot is going to raise up and kick. Again, I'm keeping my chest, my head, and body away from my opponent when I'm doing this. Ready? Hana. Turn, kick. It's a little bit of a weird kick, I know. Ready? Turn, kick. Set, turn, kick. Net, turn, kick. Hustle, turn, kick. All right, now we're going to do this at full speed. So just turning and kicking at the same time. Hustle. Is it good? Get over. Ahoo. All right, now we're going to switch legs. We're going to do the same thing. Ready? Gonna turn, kick. Turn, kick. Set, turn, kick. Net. So turn, kick. And now a little bit faster. Yes. So. Is it good? Get over. Oh. Good. Take a breath in. So hopefully you felt a little bit comfortable with that. Again, it's more of a stop sort of a kick than anything, not super powerful, but you might find it comes in handy every now and then. All right, now let's take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. So now we're going to do a little bit more stretching. So we're going to start off, everyone's favorite, go into the splits. We're going right into the center splits as much as you can. And drop down. So we're going to be seated. When you drop down, don't let your legs come in together. If your legs just came in together when you sat down, go back up, split a little bit further, and sit back down. Don't let those legs come in. From here, I want you to walk your hands out in front of you, and I want you to just rock your shoulders from side to side. So think right shoulder to right knee, left shoulder to left knee. Not going all the way. I'm keeping my hands out in front, and I'm just rocking here. Now, you might have a tendency for your hips to try to start slipping backwards, especially if you did the splits and it's really tight. So don't let your hips slide back away. You want to keep your heels where they are, and you want to keep your hips where they are when you're doing this. All right, now, with our hands, let's walk a little bit more into the front and rock a little bit more. Now, while keeping your hands extended out in front of you, start to walk them all the way towards one leg and just hold towards that leg. Walk them back to the center. A little bit more forward. And walk them all the way onto your other leg. Again, make sure your heels do not move and your hips do not move. They stay still the whole time. Walk back towards the front. Lean forward a little bit more now. Rock your shoulders back and forth. Walk back some. Sit back. Bring your heels in together. And butterfly. All right, hand up, cover your face, other hand back, stand up. Now let's shake out your legs a little bit. You can do some modified hip twist, just kicking, shake them out, get some blood going back to them. All right, cheer up, bow, kunya. And great job on the class, guys. I hope you had a good time. Just covered some basic kicks. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if there's any questions in here. I saw quite a few comments. Let's see. Hey, Ollie, how's it going? Any questions up here? All right, somebody asked what the target on the body is. So it really depends on what you're kicking. So I was probably doing a specific kick at the time for it. So somebody else mentioned Sidekick right after that. All right, so I'm just going to go over it quickly. Front kicks usually are going to go towards center mass. You can sometimes aim for the chin with them. but it's usually going to be center mass, typically the ribs. You can hit the belly with a front kick. Side kick is kind of the same. You'd like to dig the heel into ribs. I typically don't go for the gut on that. You can go for the head or throat, but because it is a straight kick, it is a little bit easier for it to just kind of glance off. I usually would recommend more of a round type of a kick when you're aiming for the head, so that's going to be more body. If you're not doing Taekwondo sparring, you can do side kicks towards the legs. It's really good for kicking right below the knee on that. And then back kick, always really center mass on that, trying to hit ribs with your back kick. So for side kicks, bringing the leg up. So the main things, so let's think about the muscle groups that bring the legs up for a side kick. So you have your hip adductors right here. So this helps for bringing that up whenever the torso is relatively straight up. So you can start by strengthening that, and then you have to think about the hamstrings is going to be the next. So when we start to lean, if the hamstrings are tight, then they're going to kind of pull and you're not really going to be able to lift up. So you can only lift up so much structurally this way before the head of the femur kind of hits into the hip. So the head is inside of here, this portion of the femur hits the hip. So you can really only lift up so much sideways before you start to incorporate your hamstrings of your base leg. So make sure that the muscles are strong enough to raise it here, and then make sure the other leg is turned away from the kicking leg, which is why I always say to point this one 180 degrees out, so you use the hamstrings as that stretching muscle whenever you're getting that kick. If you turn it 90 degrees, you're going to be using your groin muscle, your hip adductor muscles, the ones that bring them together, which typically on most people are a lot tighter, so you're not going to have as high of a kick on that. So make sure that the foot is turned 180 degrees away from the kick, so you're stretching the hamstrings, and that will allow you to have a higher side kick. All right, let me go back, find these questions again. All right, back kick height, so kind of the same thing. You're going to be using your glutes on part of it for the kick, and then again also because of the orientation of our foot, this foot, so if I'm kicking, say I'm kicking my back kick that way, I'm going to hold on to here to illustrate. I turn. Now as I'm kicking, boom, I need to have flexibility in my hip flexors on this. I need to have strength in my glutes, and then I need to have flexibility in my hamstrings of my base leg in order to get a higher back kick. And then asking about leaning forward. Lean for the back kick, yes, lean forward a little bit, but not so much that you can't see over your shoulder. So remember, we need to be able to see over our shoulder. If you lean forward too much, now my shoulder is completely impeding, or I might lean and look underneath the shoulder. So you need to be able to look over your shoulder. So lean a little bit away from the kick, but not so much that you are not able to see over the shoulder anymore. If you keep turning all the way around for the spinning back kick, chances are you're not kicking a target, and then the momentum of you turning is just carrying you around, or possibly you're bringing the knee up, and the knee up gets your more weight further away from your center of gravity, which typically will carry you around as you extend for that kick. Okay, I think that is all the questions. If anybody has any other questions, go ahead and post them real quick. Okay, it looks like there are no other questions. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's class. If you have anything else, just let me know, and maybe I'll prepare for next class. Have a great day. I do recommend getting some sort of kicking bag. It doesn't have to be a bob. Bobs are kind of expensive. It can be a hanging bag or anything, but it is very good to be able to kick something and be able to apply force into it, and then it'll have that force applied back to you, so you get more of a realistic feel as opposed to always kicking in the air, which you can risk hurting yourselves. All right, and that's it for today's class. Have a great day.